That's not how we do it. Your channel.
Oh. Hey sisters.
Hey sisters. Welcome back to another video. I'm trying to make this as spooky as possible, guys. I am joined right now. By Maria. This is Maria, as you guys can see. Say hi to the 66 subscribers that I have.
It's so awkward saying hi to your phone.
Anyways, yeah, as I mentioned before, we're gonna be listening to the Kimberly story. It was requested by someone from our class because she doesn't know what it is. So we have taken advantage of listening to 55 minutes and 9 seconds of a horror story. And I know it might be a little late for Halloween, but we're here. So let's listen to the story.
Okay.
Okay, this happened when I first started teaching in El Paso, Texas. That's where I first started teaching. Walter Clark Middle School, where I worked. There was a young lady named Kimberly in my classroom.
It's a scary name.
Lucky we don't have a Kimberly in our classroom. We have a Kimberly in our classroom?
No, I don't think so.
She was a very quiet, very shy girl. And she was in my class for about 2 months when she finally disappeared.
Wow.
We don't know what happened to her. So we contacted the counselors and said, look, I haven't seen her in about a week.
She dropped out.
Kayla. I'm sorry, Kayla. I had to throw you into the bus. Yeah.
We're not getting a response. We don't know what happened to her. We're just going to assume they just left and they moved. Okay. Well, I guess it was about a month and a half later. I was teaching class, and the door opened. And I could tell by the look on my students' faces something was very wrong. So I turned around, and standing in the doorway was Kimberly. And Kimberly wasn't a very big girl to begin with, and she really looked bad. She had a long white dress on. It was dirty. Her fingernails were all yellow. She looked emaciated. Her eyes were sunk in her head. Her hair, she had real long, pretty hair, and it was really matted. And I turned around and said, Kimberly, what is wrong? And she just stared at me.
How's that funny?
Said, Kimberly, what is wrong? And she looked down at her hand and she started to rub it. She said, poor Kimberly. I said, Kimberly, what happened?
Oh, hell no.
And she just stared at me. Kept rubbing her hand. So I called security and I said, please send somebody up to watch my class. And I took Kimberly down to the nurse.
I wouldn't even
The nurse said,
touch
my
her.
God, who's this? And I said, this is Kimberly. What happened to her? I said, I have no idea. She showed up my class this way. Well, at Walter Clark Middle School, all the students were allowed to pick a teacher to be their mentor to help them if something happens, and Kimberly had listed me as her mentor. And that's how I become involved in this story.
Nice.
The security said we need to call the police, obviously, the condition she's in, which we did. And the police officer that showed up his name is Johnny Guerrero, and Johnny is still a police officer in El Paso. He's
Well, okay. See, my last name is not Guerrero, and my real name is not Johnny. So, I mean,
We still call you Johnny.
Very good friends, and it started because of this Kimberly story. Johnny came in, introduced himself. I explained to him what happened, and he said, well, we need to get her to the hospital first thing, and then we need to try and locate the parents. So they take her to the hospital. In the hospital, they give her IVs. They find out she's very, very, almost starved. And they also find out she's in a state of shock, and they say she's insane. And they take her to Alpine, Texas, that has a sanitarium for people who have severe, severe problems. And they take her over there. Johnny contacted me about a week later and said, hey, I have to go over to her house. Would you like to go along? I said,
oh,
sure.
great.
No.
So her house was in a little town called Fabens. Fabens is right outside El Paso, right off I-10. And it's about a 200, almost 300-year-old town. It's been there forever. It's right on the border of Mexico and the United States. So we drive to Fabens. We actually turn right on first. And there's these old houses, real old houses, 2-, 3-story houses.
Bro, I got goosebumps already. What the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
People not even living in it anymore. Well, we get to Kimberly's house, and it's a 3-story red brick building. Very, very old. Very narrow. It's funny, it's a very narrow house. Now, before I go any further, I told you I don't believe in ghosts or any of that kind of stuff, and I don't. I still don't. Johnny Guerrero believes in everything. He's very easy to spook. Now, he's a heck of a police officer,
Are you easy to
Shoot
spook?
us,
Are
he's
you
been in
easy to
everything. He's a
spook?
very brave man,
Not really.
but he's scared of everything.
Oh, nice. What kind
we
of
go
police
up to the
officer
house
is that?
You got to walk up these old steps, and Johnny's looking. He goes, "Man, that's a spooky-looking place." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, you go first."
You go.
I said, "Johnny, you're the cop, man. You got the gun." "Oh yeah." So he walks over and he grabs the door, and I can't really explain this. Maybe a gust of wind or whatever. But as soon as he grabbed the door opened. Johnny goes, "Now you're going first, man." I said, "I'll go. I'm okay. I'll go. I don't care." So I walk up the stairs, and when we walked in, it's very dark in there. And one thing I noticed was the smell. It was a dirty, dusty kind of smell, almost a burnt smell. I'll never forget it, but it's hard to describe. And there's one big room as you walk in, some couches and stuff, and then there's a set of wooden stairs that go up to the second and third floor.
Oh, no.
And we went up there. And sure enough, third floor looked like it was Kimberly's bedroom, and you could tell she'd been sleeping in the bed, but nothing else. And then we went down to the second floor where the parents' bedroom was, and the parents hadn't been sleeping in that bed in a long time. The bed was made. Nobody had been in there in a long time. Clothes were still in the closet. Go downstairs into the living room. Past the living room, you go through a hallway, and there's a kitchen. We walked into the kitchen.
Oh, great, of course.
And boy, there was a funny smell in the kitchen. Yeah, it was a weird smell.
Anyways, weird smell.
And Johnny's looking around the cabinets and stuff, and I can't tell you why, but the refrigerator caught my attention. Because maybe it was old.
He's hungry.
And I opened it. And the smell almost knocked me down. On the inside of the refrigerator door was a dog. And it had been tacked to the inside of the door
Hell
with nails.
no.
And it had been completely disemboweled.
What the
No insides.
Wait, what did he say?
The dog
A dog?
was nailed to the refrigerator door, and he was with nails, and his bowels like out.
Oh,
and-
what the? Can I swear on your channel?
Yeah, I swear my pen all the time.
What the fuck? Hell no, get out of there. How are we gonna know if Kimberly's outside if we
Do you
don't have
really
a dog?
believe this?
I don't know. But if tomorrow we got a transferred student named Kimberly, then
Hell no.
It stunk terrible. Well, Johnny calls animal control. They come down, remove the carcass. Johnny said, "Hey, give me a report back. I need to know what happened to that dog. Tell me anything you can." They said, "Sure."
bitch, they
I
nailed the
guess about
dog.
another week went by, and Johnny said, "Hey, I want to go talk to Kimberly. I'd sure like for you to be there."
Okay,
I said,
go
"Sure,
talk to her.
absolutely."
Okay.
She knows you. She doesn't know me. I said, "Sure. We got to go on a Saturday. Drive to Alpine's about an hour and a half away from El Paso." So we're driving to Alpine, and Johnny's kind of quiet. I said, "Johnny, what's up?" He goes, "Oh, man, we got a report back on that dog." "Oh, what did it say?" "Well, the dog been completely disemboweled." I said, "Yeah, it's pretty obvious." And he said, "But it was disemboweled with two fine razor-like objects. It's almost surgically removed. Everything perfect."
Oh,
I said,
that's
"Really?" He said, "Yeah, it's weird."
disgusting.
He said his tongue was cut out.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog had a collar on. And you couldn't see it because it was kind of bloated up a little bit and you couldn't really see it. Had a collar on it, and I guess the dog was named after a linebacker for Chicago Bears named Dick Butkus. They called it Butkus. And I said, "Yeah, I've heard of that guy." I said, "But the weird part, we found these hairs inside the cavity of the dog." I said, "Well, the dog's got hair, Johnny." He goes, No, that's a Rottweiler mix kind of dog. They got short hair. We found real long hair inside the dog. 6, 7 inches long." I said, "Well, what's weird about that?" He goes, "Well, I did an analysis on the hair. It's mostly black and kind of brown tipped at the end, and the hair is hollow inside." I said, "Don't some animals have that?" "Well, I thought so, but according to the people over at Animal Control, they said that only comes off of a gorilla or an ape-like creature." I said, "There's none of that stuff in El Paso or in this area." He goes, "I know." So we get to the sanitarium in Alpine. It's just like a prison. It's a terrible place. So we go inside, and the director meets us, and he said, "Hey, Kimberly's not doing too good, man. We almost have to force feed her, and she's just not talking. And we got a camera up in the room because we have to make sure they don't hurt themselves. And, she walks around, and we can see her lips moving. She's talking. We don't know what she's saying. And she walks up to the walls a lot and just looks at them. Okay, we'll bring her in the conference room. So Johnny and I are in there, and she comes in. And she looks at me for a minute, almost for a second, looked like she was going to smile. Maybe because she recognized somebody, I don't know. So I said, Kimberly, honey, how you doing? And she just stared at me. I said, Kimberly, where's your mom and dad? And she just stared at me. I said, Kimberly, where's your dog? And then she kind of looked funny and looked over at Johnny and looked back at me, and I said, honey, do you know your dog is dead? And she looked at her hand and she started rubbing it. She looked around. She said, they live in the walls. I said, what, honey?
Oh, fuck no.
They live in the walls.
Fuck
I said,
no.
what lives in the walls? Nothing can live in a wall, honey. And she kept looking, and then she put her head down, and she just rubbed her hand.
Fuck no.
She was Paso. He said, hey, we got to do an investigation of the house. They're going to go up and dig up the back. There's a garden back there, and like another old building, a shack. They want to look through all that stuff and look
Oh,
through some papers. And I said,
fuck
let me know.
no.
Well, Johnny and I started to become pretty good friends, and we were golfing on a Sunday, and Tony said, hey, they found some records of mom and dad inside the house. He worked for the Maquiladores in Juarez, and she worked for an airline company that's based out of El Paso. And when we contacted both places, the parents had both failed to show up for work the same day and have never been heard or seen from since. I said, man, that's weird. And I said, well, yeah, and we also, digging in the back, they found human remains. They found bones. They only ever found one skull, but they did find enough evidence to indicate a male and a female, and through dental records, it's Kimberly's father. I said, man, that's freaky. He said, yeah, and it's even weirder is the bones chewed on.
What?
I said, well, animals do that, Johnny. Little mice and field rats and stuff will get in there and they'll start chewing on those bones. He said, yeah, but these things had two fine razor-like teeth chewed on the bone.
What the
An
frap?
animal have razor-like teeth. He said, I know, and we found hair on the bones. And I said, let me guess. He said, yep, same kind of hair we found in the dog's cavity.
It's Kimberly.
He goes, and I
Cannibalism.
don't know, man. It's kind of
Probably.
spooky. We're going to have to, he goes, you're not going to like this, but I'm going to have to go arrest Kimberly. I said, for what?
Yeah,
He
arrest
said,
her.
well, you tell me. Parents disappeared. We find the remains out back. She's living in the house. I said, are you going to try and get her for murder? He goes, yeah. He goes, and I don't think she did it. But, you know, it's the only evidence I have right now. I said, man, I don't like that. He goes, I know.
You know what I'm afraid?
He goes, you want to go with me? And I said, well, yeah. 'cause she's
The
gonna-
table has nothing underneath.
Stop! I didn't even notice that. Stop.
So we head over to Alpine. There's Border Patrol.
You okay?
Andas en mi cabeza.